today's world with the generations that actually are active in the workplace, you have to have a connection of the mind and the heart. And you cannot accomplish this unless you have your own heart and your own mind connected and rooted in some values. Your leadership compass would help develop the leadership compass in others, and really you can talk about respect and live a different life outside of work and inside of work, or actually conduct yourself inside and outside of work with that same set of values, and that consistency, that authenticity leads others, inspires others, right? I think that's, to me, one of the most important aspects.
Welcome to Apostolicam Actuositatem, an interview series on effective apostolic activity for the 21st century. My name is Christopher Pereira. I'm the CEO of Tepeyac Leadership.
And I'm Andreas Widmer, Director of the Sioka Center for Principled Entrepreneurship at the Catholic University of America.
And today we're really happy to be joined by Jesus Gomez. He's an engineer who lives in the northwest area of the United States. I don't know how he can do it with all the cold, but we welcome Jesus Gomez to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you both. And thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Jesus, if you could get us started by giving us a glimpse of who you are, just tell us a little bit about your professional life, where you've been and where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. With pleasure. So my name is Jesus Gomez. I am, as Christopher was saying, I live in Vancouver, Washington with my beautiful wife, Judith. We have 3 children, all of them in college. My oldest, Jesus, graduated as an architect and now he's doing his master's. Jose Manuel is studying mechanical design, and Priscilla, our little one, Priscilla Guadalupe, is studying biomechanical engineering in Washington State. So proud parents of 3 wonderful children. I was born and raised Catholic in Toluca, Mexico. That's a little town about 60 miles southwest of Mexico City. I grew up there. I guess ever since early showed interest for mechanisms, metalworks, carpentry, etc. Fun fact, I built my first truck when I was age 11, a truck that it was a 1/3 scale. I could ride in it. And my dad, as an engineer himself, although civil engineer, helped me out with the mechanical of the steering of the vehicle, but showed interest for technical fields since I was young, and studied a dual degree electrical mechanical engineering. At age 21, graduated from college, and shortly after started working for the automotive industry, and in the company that I still work in today. Married Judith in 1994. We became parents in 1995, moved to the United States through a job opportunity in 1997. And today I work as the director of engineering for Daimler Trucks in North America, which is headquartered here in Portland, Oregon, just about 12 miles away from home, from where we live. We are involved in different activities. Also, the kids went to Catholic school, obviously, and then I became a head coach for the swim team for Lady of Lourdes for 10 years, together with a group of parents that were assistant coaches. A wonderful opportunity. Being knighted as a 4th degree knight in 2011. Have the opportunity to participate in different boards. One is St. Luke Productions, a Catholic media company, among other activities that we do. We try to not only, let's say, as a family, work and live and get by, but also get involved with our surroundings, try to get additional things done. We like I said before, moved to the States in 1997, and at work, besides being the director of engineering for the cabin interiors, I am also involved in the EBRGs, the creation of the Latino, it's called Lead Latino Employee Active Partnership. And the idea is obviously help out, being just not from a leadership perspective, but help others with with support, with understanding, with guidance, and for those activities, I really core myself in the principles of my values and the core morals that I have. I think it's a little bit of a way to share the God-given talents and being able to participate in I want to say in that fashion for others with others. A church, obviously.
Is that a kind of mentorship role that you're taking within the company for others, or what?
Yeah, it's both mentorship and also helping out with we have different events to help promote and grow their skills, their abilities to I guess play a part in their ability to develop professionally and also personally. I think at large, a lot of the basis of setting up an example is not just how much you can say, but it's really how you conduct yourself and aspire to be of influence to others, right, within the work environment. To me, that's probably the best aspect of being able to be involved in different than just my job itself per se. Yeah.
So we were watching, before we started the intro, we were talking about trucks. Tell us a little bit about that, because we've never had an engineer in our series before. The mind of an engineer is fascinating to me. It's fascinating. Engineers have unique personalities, right? And what does being a Catholic engineer contribute to the creativity that you must have as an engineer? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, thank you. I think the inquisitive mind it's a requirement. Being curious is definitely a requirement. In the aspect of being an engineer, I think that it involves a lot using your curiosity in able to become and ideate and develop with others the next generation trucks and concepts. So in my job, a lot of I want to say leveraging your talents involves getting to know others, getting to understand what motivates them aside of just being an engineer, right? We all can say each one of us has a particular call to different skills that we have and apply those skills in the workplace. But beyond that, you have to connect with the persons. What is it like being Catholic in an engineering environment? A lot of my mission and my vision as God given is being able to connect with others beyond the superficial level to inspire that creativity, trust, collaboration, co-creation in a very, I want to say, driven out of values environment. So respect, and then the leadership is not just saying, all right, here is my vision and this is where we need to do. No, it's developing with others and really bringing that brightness in the minds of other engineers, ideation and possibilities. And it doesn't come unless there's an environment of trust, of respect. And this is largely driven out of values. I think that I leverage and capitalized a lot in being raised in a house where my mom as a school teacher was always involving us in that creative aspect, supporting us and encouraging us to step forward and lean in and reach for the things that we wanted to do. That I want to say, bringing up of Jesus Gomez within the family that was supportive, develops a lot of my background, and that's how I intend to work with a team, especially when I know that the creativity is the number one ingredient to come up with really awesome designs and that. Obviously, the trucking industry, being an automotive spin, it is largely influenced by the economy, largely influenced by the trends and tendencies. So we have to stay really up in technology, being really current with trends, with the aspect of implementation of it. But like I said, using that foundation as the core set of values to really apply them in the workplace for sure.
But isn't it difficult to be a Christian, be a Catholic in your work environment? I wouldn't want to call the trucking industry from far away a rough industry, but it's certainly a very male-dominated, strong industry. I mean, this is an engineer's dream, right? I mean, everything is about machinery and engines, and this is sort of process focused. It's almost like a male scientific project, right? And so there's your faith might not have a great appeal there, and how do you then live out your call as a Christian apostle in an environment like that?
No, thank you. You mentioned exactly one of the aspects why we have developed like the employee business resource groups, because our industry is highly labeled as, really tough, strong, male dominated, in which there's, let's say, a direction you follow. The tendencies is very technical, dry, specific. And I think what I've had a chance to work and live through is applying values such as prudence, self-control, courage in a very good perspective, humility, and try to lead a group of engineers, especially with the new generations. New generations are very cultural rich and savvy. We're breaking through a lot of the, I want to say, stigmas or the typical stereotypes of a trucking industry. And we have a really large amount of women engineers within the workplace. And as a father and Catholic, having a daughter and my wife, and being raised by a school teacher, my mom was my largest inspiration from a Catholic perspective, and also from work ethics, dedication, care, and inspiration, right? So all that upbringing from my early days as a kid, looking after her as an example, leads me obviously to make sure that the opinion, the contribution, the inclusion, the involvement of women in engineering becomes very important. And for that, I think the leadership style has everything to do with the results. I am a person that I act because being, let's say, a minority and diversity within the workplace myself develops a conscious to a higher level. Then you're dealing with a person, right? Not just with a number engineer. And with that, you got to make sure that you are just, that you are respectful, that you are bringing equity within the workplace, that you allow those that otherwise don't have a voice to have a voice. That I hone in a lot of what I learned within my formation in TLI as well, to articulate that leadership with values and extract from that collaboration and inspiration from that new generation, because they are a lot more driven out of connecting the heart and the mind. In the past, you had the typical engineers like I was, a tie and khaki pants and a white shirt, checking in at 8 a.m. and checking out at 5 p.m. And it was more driven out of instructions and very dry environment. Today's world, with the generations that actually are active in the workplace, you have to have a connection of the mind and the heart. And you cannot accomplish this unless you have your own heart and your own mind connected and rooted in some values. Your leadership compass would help develop the leadership compass in others, and really, you can talk about respect and live a different life outside of work and inside of work, or actually conduct yourself inside and outside of work with that same set of values, and that consistency, that authenticity leads others, inspires others, right? I think that's, to me, one of the most important aspects. For example, Jesus, what would you say? So it's not hard to say we have either an offsite or a meeting, and it's time for a break or time for the meal. All the time, every time, I say grace, and I start our prayer, right? And in many cases, I actually include those that I'm working with for a successful workshop, for everything else, and that is noticeable. There is where you make a little bit of a difference, because others say, "Hey, thank you," and they.
Oh, you do that out loud? You pray out loud?
Out loud. I pray out loud, and I'm not trying to say, and I do it on purpose, and I do it because that's what I'm, thankful for. Bless us, O Lord, in these gifts we're about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. And I add a little bit of, please allow us to enjoy and have a good and successful workshop, blah, blah, blah. I don't say hey, everybody, please silence your attention. I don't do that because I'm not out there to preach, but I do it for me and those that are surrounding me. In some cases, if I'm eating lunch by myself, I still, say it. And I don't just say it for me. I say it because I truly am grateful for that and the opportunity. And you will catch me saying things like, for example, when I believe something is a blessing for me in the workplace, that's how I call it, a blessing, not a luck, not a something.
Good fortune.
Yeah, not fortune, right? Exactly. I often also say nothing happens by accident, and I truly believe that it's somebody's plan for us. So,
Jesus, could you, I want to make sure we get this in the interview. Could you walk us, everything that you're telling us really pointed to the type of leader that you are. And a leader understands that he must continue to nurture those values that are driving his or her leadership. So could you maybe share with us a little bit of what your life of piety looks like, your spiritual life, your plan for spiritual life throughout the week, throughout the day? Where do you incorporate prayer more on a personal, individual level, and your relationship with Christ through prayer and the sacraments?
Yeah, no, thank you. So every day I begin my day placing myself in the hands of the Lord through prayer. The prayer of St. Francis to me is my way to really start my day and ask for Christ in me, with me, on my right, on my left, in front of me, and the hearts and the minds of others who I interact with, and so on. So my prayer in the morning is to really place myself and to bring Christ with me and have Christ with me as I develop the day. Very often on the way to work, I listen to either Catholic radio or Hallow, or I try to make it a time for me and inspiration to carry me through the day. One of the things that is not really known as, I am an introvert. My DISC profile is DNC, so that means that I have the tendency to have information for the things that I want to do, and then I push the things that I do. In a very intentional way as well, I introduce every morning my prayer as I go to work, a little bit of the pre-compression as I get there with some inspiration throughout the day. And like I said, for sure, at lunchtime, my prayer, but I have the image of Our Lady in my desk. And when I'm, thinking a little bit, trying to come up with ideas, I often give my brain those 30 seconds of refreshment with the prayer to Our Lady. On the way back from work, I connect on the phone with my dad or listen again to Catholic radio on the way back. And at least 2 or 3 times a week, I either say the chaplet or rosary as well on the way back. This is the time when I am in the car, no distractions, so allows me to do that. And then when I get home, my mindset from work is not about the burdens of the day or the challenges of the day. I have had the chance to decompress and use that prayer time and that car time to also grow a little bit in my faith. That's a bit of a day. Yeah.
I think it's beautiful in how you take advantage of the commuting time. And now after COVID, where many of us don't have to commute anymore, I think a lot of people lost this decompression time. And I think a lot of people were listening to radio, Catholic radio, or were doing the rosary. And maybe this is a time for you to prompt everybody listening to say, if you've lost that, then maybe just go for a walk around the house at the border times before you start to work and after, and reintroduce this, because this is a cornerstone of your spirituality in a sense.
Yeah, Andreas, that's very true. And I'm glad that you pointed at that, because precisely we can all find the busyness of the day and the Zoom after Zoom after Zoom after Zoom meeting to leave things behind and aside. And but little reminders, an image or your background or things on your desk can be that reminder. And to me, we need as humans a little bit of a break in between topics, in between activities. And the perfect breaker is to have an image of Our Lady in your desk and then simply pray Our Lady, right? And that's something that I personally use, but you mentioned it, and it's completely spot on. The new work from home, meeting after meeting after meeting has taken away a little bit of our chances to connect in our faith.
And how do you use Hallow? Do you use the daily reflection? What do you like on there? What, like, you just browse around and use the different parts of it, or?
You know, as they have the daily reflection and articulated on the gospel, this is one of my favorite morning listenings.
Yeah.
And at night, when I'm trying to decompress, same as well, the nightly reflection. And to me, that's an app as well that you can leverage many other things, but mostly is the morning and the night reflections, when one is more like to decompress and breathe. And it really guides you to take a few minutes. Yesterday, as I was listening precisely to the morning reflection in the gospel,
that's the one with Jeff Cavins and Jonathan Rumi.
Yeah. And
Really?
yesterday, let me see if I still have it here, but yesterday, as it says, now take a few seconds to concentrate, to focus in God. And I looked to the left, and I had this beautiful scenery of the Mount Hood as I'm driving to work, and the sun coming up behind Mount Hood. And it's precisely at that time,
that moment,
and then you have little to be explained, right? God is such a wonderful artist and give us these moments to really
it's almost like I see these moments. I see the same thing. I also listen to Jeff Cavins and Jonathan Rumi on the way to work, and often also in the morning before I leave with my wife. And what God does in these moments, it's almost like as a father to hug you or to pat your head. And it's like these little signs of affection that God gives you, that God basically just says, look, I'm here and I love you. And these may be small and other people just walk by this, but this becomes a motivator and a love sign that you can draw on from the whole day.
Yeah, no, truly, Andreas, I'm thank you for that comment. It is indeed. And I, like I said, I don't believe in accidents. God is present in our lives if we just but take a few seconds to recognize that. And anybody can say, hey, I'm the director of these, or I've got this big important job. Take a moment to understand, recognize, and remember that God is with you every step. And honestly, every time that I do that, then my day changes for the positive. Chris.
And I think that is the perfect pearl to take away as we need to wrap this up. Jesus, as it always happens to us, Andreas and I, when the conversation gets the most interesting is when we need to say goodbye. But thank you so much for being with us, Jesus, and everybody else for watching.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Andreas. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. And
thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Jesus. And thank you all for watching. It's really a privilege to have your attention for a few minutes every day, every time that we do this. And thank you, Jesus, for inspiring this effective apostolic activity of lay Catholic professionals in the world that we are after. God bless you, and we see you next time.